Dave Johal once again for the Boxing Voice. Pleased to be joined by British light heavyweight champion Shakan Pitters. How are you, Shakan? Fighting pride of
I'm great.
Birmingham as well.
Ah,
I was just going to say fighting pride of the West Midlands, Birmingham.
at the West Midlands. Now, I appreciate that introduction. Sorry, get my words out. Yeah, man, I'm good. Thank you very much. How about yourself? You good, Dev?
Yeah, good man, good. Since we last spoke, I mean, I always catch you on a time when there's a bit of controversy in boxing and stuff. We'll come on to that in a second, but let's talk about your massive fight with Craig Richards. How did that fight come about? The fight with Chad Sugden. Um, so yeah, let's. Where would you like to start? Should we talk about Chad Sugden? Was that an easier fight than what you expected?
I believe I made it easier for myself, but as always, I expect the best version of my opponents and so on. But I'm only responsible for myself in there. I'm only responsible how I turn up, how I prepare. It doesn't matter to me how anyone else, what they're doing in preparation and things. I just focus on what I can control, and I prepare good for that fight and also for this fight, like I always do. And I show up on the day.
Yeah, I mean that fight. You kind of controlled the pace from round one all the way through to the end, didn't you? To be fair, it was all in your favour, and the results they're kind of shown on the day. What was it like, first of all, fighting with one no crowd, one you always bring a big crowd with you under the lights and everything? Were you happy with the setup and everything? Because back home watching on TV and stuff, it looked really great. To be fair, the setup.
Yeah, it was a brilliant setup by Channel 5 and Mick Hennessy. Everyone was well looked after. The actual arena itself was lit up. You know what I mean? It actually made up for not having no crowds. If the crowd was there as well in that kind of atmosphere, it would have been brilliant. But yeah, they, done a brilliant job with how it was set up for sure.
Good stuff. And now moving on to Craig Richards, you'll be fighting him very, very soon. How did that fight come about? Was it always Craig that you had in mind? Because again, the British scene at light heavyweight is immense, isn't it? So was it always a case for you and Craig to meet?
Yeah, for sure. Because Craig was the mandatory challenger at the time, so was myself. Obviously, there's a lot of back and forth with his stable, Matchroom, whatever reasons. But obviously, then he pulled out in March. It was meant to have a fight in March, headlining in Coventry show, Mick Hennessy show, but he pulled out for whatever reason. Says he had the flu or something like that, or whatever reason, I don't know. But then Chad Sugden was then my next opponent, who in line, obviously due to him getting the draw and so on. I think it was something where the board looked and thought, okay, pass him, whatever. But obviously, I'm glad it's come back to Craig again. He's always been the mandatory challenger. That ain't left and that ain't gone from him. So I finally get to settle the score December the 18th and just put that behind me once I win.
I mean, it's going to be a Merry Christmas for one person and not so for the other 7 days before Christmas.
It's definitely going to be a great Merry Christmas for myself, for sure.
Good stuff. And it's one of those fights as well where there's not much needle. You both respect each other from what I know as well. Have you studied much of him in terms of his previous fights?
Obviously, I've seen a few of his. A few of his fights, come across his fights, before, but it's not something where I'm, studying to see anything. I always, as I do in all my camps, I focus on my game. I've got a brilliant team. John Pegg, Paul Cunningham, Louis Cunningham, who that's their role. They think of any game plans, anything we need to do. I just make sure, I'm 100%, I'm fit, and that's about it. Like I said, I know all them things are connecting, which they always do. I'll always be ready and more than ready on the night, and also there just to get the win, which I always do.
Good stuff. Another sort of fight that's happening this weekend, Anthony Yard, Arthur Linden Hall as well. I take it you'll be watching that with vested interest as well, won't you? For the Commonwealth title, that one isn't it?
Is there a title on the line? Is he put his title up on the line?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't realise. I thought it was a normal fight, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it. You know, as I say, I'm a fan of boxing. And obviously they're both in the same weight class as myself, so I'll watch it. You know, I wish nothing but both of them, you know, a healthy outtake after their fight, a great fight, and I'm sure, you know, they're both good fighters. It'd be an entertaining fight, one I look forward to watching for sure.
Could you pick a winner at this stage?
It's look, Lyndon's got a lot of experience to him. A lot of people obviously probably leaning towards Yard, they're saying the power and so on, but Lyndon also obviously carries power and he's got a great pedigree behind him. It'd be hard for me to genuinely lean to anyone as a winner. It's a lot closer than a lot of people believe. I don't think it's a walk in the park for either fighter. They're both good fighters. As I say, you know, Lyndon's got a great experience, amateur pedigree behind him, but not even just that, he's shown, you know, in other fights and that he's come through and he's fought well, had a good win against Dex Bowman. And the same with Yard, you know, Yard obviously gave a great account of himself against Kovalev, who's obviously a great champion, he's been for many years. And, you know, it makes for an interesting fight. I just wish both of them the best in that fight for sure. I'm not rooting for anyone, obviously. It don't make a difference to me who wins. But I'm sure it'd make a good fight, one that I enjoy. I'll look forward to watching myself for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be great if, you know, sort of cross promotional activities can be put aside, and we get to see, you know, your likes of yourself versus the winner out of that. And I understand why it's so difficult because of the stables, the promotional pieces involved as well. But it'll be great one day just to see everybody getting it on. Boatsi as well, Callum Johnson. I mean, the list is.
Yeah, I think them fights are more willing to happen anyway, because with this COVID, obviously boxing still needs to stay alive. Promoters understand that, and you know, this is why we're seeing a lot of these domestic dust ups, especially so early now. You know, so that's one positive out of this tough situation and times what everyone's going through in the boxing community, is that you know, we're guaranteed great domestic fights, and back to back on all promotions. There's been good domestic fights, so it's been good in entertainment and good to see and watch as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a domestic fight I was just going to get your opinion on was what happened over the weekend. Now, speaking of when we spoke last time, it was regarding when Gerald Miller had to, he tested positive, so that was a controversy in sport as well. And this time round, the sort of talking is about Dubois. Did he or did he not quit? And as a fighter, you know, it's sometimes it's best to ask a fighter's opinion about the pain threshold and so on and so forth. You know, we only commentate on what's happening from a media perspective and so on and so forth. What's your take on what happened on that night?
Boxing, I mean, we see it in this sport, man, it's dangerous. We see a lot of, you know, injuries which, you know, rule people out of not just boxing, but also their livelihood, you know. What's that Olympic guy now? Anthony Ogogo is one that he suffered, obviously, with an eye injury like that, which ruled him out for his whole career. And obviously, I'm sure it affects his day-to-day life. I'm not Daniel Dubois. I can't say what his pain threshold, what he was feeling. I'm not one to knock another fighter, to be honest, you know, and say anything and give my opinion on anything, if he quit or not. I've always said in myself, in them situations, you know, I'd go out on my shield if that's the case, or whatever it may be. But who am I? You know, I'm not in his body. You know what I mean? He was eating a lot of jabs. But rather than talking of Daniel Dubois, I think a lot of people need to give Joe Joyce's praises, because he's achieved so much in the amateur ranks and also now as a professional, winning all these 3 titles. And, you know, he was the underdog going into this fight. You know, a lot of people who I've spoken to in general were all, you know, Triple D, thinking that he was going to win. I always did lean to Joyce in a way, because I know that, you know, his pedigree, his boxing ability, his relentless work rate was always going to be something. And it caused any heavyweight problems, I believe. So I was always kind of leaning towards him. But yeah, Joyce showed up, man, and he got the job done. He done what he had to do for sure. So I think, rather than always focusing on Daniel Dubois, I think people need to also give him his praises, you know, because he boxed a brilliant fight.
He did, and he controlled the whole fight with the jab and stuff. And you know, I wish Daniel a speedy recovery, to be fair.
100%, yeah, man. I think it's one where with this injury it makes or breaks a lot of fighters. He's still young. Hopefully he can come back. He's obviously, it's his livelihood. He's supporting his family through boxing as well. So I hope that he can, make a speedy recovery, as you said, and come back and, gain the confidence back in the ring and fight and, go on to big things.
Yeah, because what you guys do for the public, myself and other media people and fans, we admire, putting yourself on the line to take possibly career-threatening injuries, life-ending injuries, and so on and so forth, and
Yeah.
to all of you. So I personally don't think that people should criticise and until you've lived a life and taken them kind of shots.
Yeah, of course. See, we're always in a, it's a criticizing business. Everyone's always going to criticize whether you're doing good or bad. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, there's only a few fans which are like got that football fan mentality who's going to ride with you through any good times or bad times. A lot of them are more for who's winning at the time, and if they like you as a person and so on. So. I believe he'll probably come back and do better, but it's one of those. Like I said, he's got to have good people around him now. I'm sure he's got a good family around him and so on, and they look to come back. But brilliant job again on Joe Joyce. No one can take anything from him. He boxed a brilliant fight.
He did absolutely brilliantly. Now, talking about your fight as well, then with Craig, how do you prepare for someone like Craig? What kind of stuff have you been doing? Have you been doing anything different than what your normal routine is, or is it just?
No, I prepare for every fighter more or less the same. I train hard. I leave no stones unturned. So there's nothing in particular I especially got to do for Craig or anyone else. You know what I mean? The way I prepare, I prepare like the fights for me is one in the gym, and from the work that I've already done outside the ring. So. There's nothing where I'm thinking or worried about anything to prepare for. Like I said, we prepare solid in the gym. Got a great team behind me, great promoter, and they do their job accordingly, and I just do my job in the ring, get the win.
When do you think you'll be? Do you think next year is going to be the case of when you go for like European titles, the world? Is that what your sort of plan is for next year, 2021? Because this year it's been, should we just say, a bit of a strange one, haven't we, with the pandemic, with COVID and everything? Like, you still perform, which is awesome, which is absolutely wonderful. But next year, is that the case when you're going to be knocking on Mick Hennessy's door and saying, let's see where we go from here?
As I say, it's Mick Hennessy's job and my team, man, to sit down to do that. Me as a fighter, I never overlook anything. December the 18th is as far as I look ahead. In an ideal world and realistically, of course, I want to push on for more, but December's the 18th. Business got to get taken care of there. This is how I always took my career, just one step at a time, one fight at a time. And it's working for me, so I ain't going to change that. Just December 18th, and then I'll focus on anything else after that.
Good stuff. Have you got a message for Craig?
He knows I'm coming, man. I ain't got no message. Just I'm glad that I hope he's preparing well. And I'm preparing good, and I know it's going to be an exciting fight. Channel 5, one that I'm going to show masterclass on and get the win, and keep my belt.
Good stuff, Shakan. All the best from the Boxing Voice. If we don't speak again, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll catch up with you soon, mate.
100%, man. Likewise. Thanks very much for your time, and definitely we'll catch up soon.
Take care, mate. See you in a bit.
Take care.
So if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows. The list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.